Today's guest is someone whose energy literally shifted the atmosphere. Right before we hit record, an earthquake hit. No coincidence. This moment is that powerful. Isabella Stoloff is a modern-day shaman, founder of the Orange County Healing Center, and a living testament to transformation, rising from the chaos of the streets to becoming a guide for deep spiritual healing. We're talking energy work, ancestral wisdom, and reclaiming your personal power. If you're ready to tap into something deeper, this one's for you.
Good day, good day. Hello, Isabella.
Hi.
Yeah, we have a special guest on the show. Her name is Isabella Stoloff. She's with Shaman Isabella.
Yeah, we have to jump into the fact that we just had an earthquake. I mean, as a shaman, earthquakes are very interesting, and it's interesting. The thing in the window is still kind of moving. If you live in earthquake area, I've always taught that you just sort of shift your hips along with Pachamama, along with the earth, and breathe and not get freaked out. And that's very interesting. I had a ceremony here once where I was opening the directions and had all these people here for this fire ceremony. And we had, I think it was thunder, like an enormous amount of thunder cracking. And everybody's like, yeah. But those are the signs, right, that we look for in our world. We look for the unseen. We look at what doesn't seem real. And it's also interesting because you want to talk about tech, which to me seems not real. And people say, how is it that everyone believes in these phones and the ability to talk like this, but they don't believe in energy and energy medicine and spiritual healing? What's the difference? What's the difference between technology and spiritual healing? What's the difference in believing the unseen of technology and not believing the unseen of your own personal wisdom, your own personal magic, your own ability to heal your body, mind, and spirit? So I think it's a great way to launch into your podcast.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so Isabella, you are with Shaman Isabella. That's your story, or is it your brand? What is that again?
It's my story. So my brand is Orange County Healing Center. So it's interesting because you're catching me right in this transitional phase, right? I was Orange County Healing Center forever. I opened the Orange County Healing Center in 2009. Before that, I was teaching acting and public speaking at the University of Idaho and here at Fullerton College. And shamanism, Peruvian shamanism, which is different than Native American shamans. There are shamans all over the world. That's the other thing. I'm 49% Ashkenazi Jew, and there are Russian shamans. There are Mongolian shamans. There are so it's in my DNA. So when people say you're being cultural appropriation, and I'm sorry. We're all indigenous to somewhere. We're all spiritual healers in our own right. If we woke up, we are all intuitive. We all have this feeler healer, which is how I train my people, is to believe in their feeler healer. So before that, I had a one-woman show. I collected women's stories and asked them what was the moment that changed your life. And then I performed 4 of those stories. And then I was teaching, and then the Orange County Healing Center came, and I started guiding people to Peru. And in 2013, I started taking people to Europe. So we did England, Greece, and then we went to Egypt, last year Bali. This year we'll be back in Peru for a women's retreat. And so I went from orangecountyhealingcenter.com, transitioning over to shamanisabella.com. And now I'm about to launch just isabellastoloff.com, which was the very first .com I had, which is so funny to come back to your roots. And just, since 2020, I've been saying, what if I could just be Isabella Stoloff, a powerful being in the universe? Why do I have to have a title? Why do I have to have a brand? Why do I have to have this, social media marketing thing, this thing. Why can't I just be myself, which I have been right through all those. I can't be anything but myself, and write these children's stories. So I started writing children's stories, and I've got one, Jenny the Jaguar, and she's for sensitive kids, and she's about um how you feel other people's feelings, how people, can influence you, or how you can become so scared of your own shadow because of what's going on and what you're feeling in the world. And so I'm excited for that. I'll be 65 this year. I'm like, how can I now still keep my legacy, right? I don't want to lose Orange County Healing Center. I don't want to lose Shaman Isabella. They're beautiful things that I did for 15 years, but it's time for me as an individual to grow. And I think that's what I teach. So that's what I have to do. I teach individuals how to grow, spiritually, mentally, energetically, So yeah, you caught me right in this big transition of moving all of my stuff to Mighty Network. I'll still have the website, but now it'll be isabellastoloff.com, and it'll be new stuff. It'll be whatever it is. It'll still have the old stuff, and you can go back and watch, old things. But Mighty Network will have the online course, Awaken the Creator Within, and the Good Vibes deck, which we'll talk about later, that my daughter and I created. So just an interesting time.
Yeah, we got you at a good time, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, yeah. So about your spiritual work, your spiritual healing, emotional, mental, and even possibly physical, what
Mhm.
kind of services you offer right now?
Well, because I have been transitioning out of in person since 2020, and I think that this year it's going to be no more in person. So I do online spiritual healings, spiritual coaching. I coach businesses on how to be more positive, and there's a book called Think Rich and Grow by Napoleon Hill. A lot of people
You can
are
go
familiar.
rich, yeah.
Yeah, Think Rich are familiar with that. And I feel more than thinking rich is to feel what it would feel like. So my specialty has always been moving heavy energy and helping you to be so clear that you can focus on what that is, how to feel into being whatever it is you want to be feeling abundant in every area of your life. And my spiritual healings are, soul retrieval, which people don't really understand. And I came up with my own technique, which is what I teach in the healer training course, which I'm about to transition to online. And it is that there are everything that's ever happened to you creates a memory imprint on your light body. So we have this physical body, but we also have this energetic field. And everything that's ever happened to you, every sound, every moment in your life, good, bad, ugly, is stuck inside that energetic field. So I'm really good at moving that and bringing you back into yourself. So even if people don't believe in past lives, they can believe in things that have happened to them as children, right? Because it's happened. And what we do is we go back to that child, we clear the imprints from that child, we clear the imprints from the adult, and we merge the two souls, two pieces back together. And then there's that inner child work, which is the Awaken the Creator Within course that's already online on Mighty Network. And that, how to love yourself more, how to have more self-care. So I really want to empower people still come to me that have been coming to me for 15 years. I love that. And I really work at empowering them to do it for themselves. And I'm open still to seeing people online. Um, and working with them. But it's more than just the energy clearing, right? Because you can get it while you're with me, but how do you carry that into your world? And then how do you share that with others? So there's something in the Peruvian tradition called Aini. And Aini, A-Y-N-I, means reciprocity, means right relationship. How am I in right relationship with myself and others? How is it if I'm an overgiver that I can become open to receive? And I am an overgiver from way back. I was a victim. I was a overgiver. I had, a lot to learn, a lot. And I've been learning a lot for the past 33 years because the first 31 years of my life, I was in a whole other story and realm. And since 1991, I've really worked on myself. I really worked on being who you see today, when, in all honesty, I should be dead from what I put myself through. But if I look back at my past, I realize that that was my shaman's journey. I had to go through that. That was my jungle. That was my dark side of the soul, which I think we can have more and more of. But yeah, energy sessions with me are very enlightening.
Yeah, very good. That's very empowering to hear that your journey to come so far, and from what you've gone through in the past. We can dive deeper into that if you want. I can relate. I remember we had a call earlier, and your past is that of a storied history.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because if you go on YouTube, you can find like my whole story. Some guy interviewed me and I just gave out the whole thing. And in a nutshell, because it's a long story, I was raised in the Hollywood Hills in the 1960s. It was a very tumultuous time. My mother was on the cover of magazines. My father was a film director. She was a supermodel before supermodel was even a thing. It's funny because that's a painting of my mom with her dog right there. Oh, just realized that. Anyway, Jacqueline Craven, you could look her up. You'll see on the cover of Vogue and Bazaar and Marie Claire, and went through the war, was from England, uh, moved to France because she knew the American army was coming and she could get to America. Everybody wanted to come to America. And my father was from Russia, and my babushka and dedushka left Russia in 1913 and went to Egypt. And my father made his first film, Desert Boy, in Egypt in 1937, brought it here. It was nominated Best Documentary Feature Film 1943. And they had a very tumultuous relationship. Um, and so by the time I came along, because my sisters are 10 and 11 years older than me, it was pretty much done. So I was raised without a father and him coming in and out, kind of. And I had a lot of loss young. And then I had some traumatic events happen to me. And I ran away from home. And when I ran away from home, I met a man 20 years older than me that was a heroin dealer in Hollywood. And I married him at 14, almost 15. And later in 15, I got pregnant, had my son when I was 16, got pregnant again at 18, had my daughter when I was 19. My son will be 50 in a couple of years. I can't even fathom that I have almost 50-year-old. And I have 3 beautiful grandsons. And so in 1986, it was either 86 or 87. He died from cancer of the colon. I was a battered wife. I always said God did for me what I couldn't do for myself. That was in those days. Nowadays, I think to myself, God only knows what I did to him in a past life. Like for him to have to be that person to keep me alive, because I was wild. I was a wild child. And he kept me alive. And I probably would have been dead with the rate I was going. So it is a very interesting way to look back at your life and love every single moment of it. When he died, I lost custody of the kids and started going to jail. I eventually ended up in prison for possession with intent to sell, and in and out of that cycle until 1991, when I got pregnant with my last child, Victoria. And she's the one that helped me design this deck of cards. And, this is the beginning of the screenplay. Okay. This is for me the beginning of that screenplay. I'm sitting in a prison cell by myself in a place called Greystone out in CIW. And it was because they had no room in CIW. So they put me in the place where all the really high end people are kept, like crazy people. So I'm in that energetically, like think about it, right? I'm in this gray stone and there's one little window and you get to shower like every 3 days. It was horrific. And I, thank God for reading. Thank God I like to read. They would come by with books. And I was reading the play Equus, which is, the things you remember. And I thought to myself, what if this baby could change my life? What if this baby could change my life? And my whole family said, you have 2 other kids. You could go get custody of them. You don't have this child. And I thought to myself, if I can't keep myself together, I'll give her up for adoption. I'm not having an abortion in prison. I mean, that's not happening. And I had 3 months in there and I said, what if I could come out and have a different life? And I did. And it was hard. And it was one traumatic thing after another. But I put myself back through school. I had about a 5th grade education because I started running away and, not going to school very early on. And I went back to school. I got an associate's degree. I got a bachelor's degree. I got a master's degree. I really built myself up. But there was something that was still lacking. There was something that was still not quite right. And it was the spiritual component. I didn't have it. I believed in energy. My mother raised me to believe in past lives, astrology, energy, every single religion, showing me how every single religion is the same. I wasn't raised Jewish, but she took me to temple. It was my father that was Jewish. And so how every single thing is connected. She showed me the connectedness of everything. And so I always believed in that, but I did not have a sense of spirituality. And shamanism bit me, and this bag of rocks, we had to collect rocks. And I've been painting stones when I was a kid. I was so into rocks always, my whole life. Now my whole house is filled with these crystals and huge rocks. And my husband says, there's never any place to put anything. There's a crystal on every counter. But that's who I am. Yeah. So I think that story really lends itself into why I'm so good at what I do, because you can come to me with anything. You can come to me with any kind of abuse. I've probably faced it except for incest, but I have helped people that have struggled with that. Any kind of sexual thing, any kind of giving your power away, any kind of victimization, any place where you're still holding that thought of I'm not good enough. I've gone through it all myself. So I think that's what makes me really good at what I do.
It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And now we take it from the past. Let's bring it to the present. You're going to Peru sometime soon.
Yeah. So I've taken groups. I've led one person. I've led 3 people. I've led 17 people. And it's always been a mixed group, but it's always like one guy or 2 guys. Men have just, had this, I don't know if it's aversion or thinking that's a woman's thing or thinking it's too vulnerable or too sensitive for a man, which is all baloney malarkey. So this time I decided we've stepped into this new era. We've stepped into this divine feminine. We have stepped into this new energy, and we have been stepping into it since 2012. But now it's really here. And we can see it in such a way when we look at the earth and what's happening in America and how the masculine is kicking its heels and fighting to stay strong and trying to create separation. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. The divine feminine is going to come out in everybody. So I don't believe that it's feminism. I don't believe that it's just women. I believe that men are going to get so fed up with seeing what they're seeing right now that they're going to want to tap into their feminine side. Because I've always been, the very first trip I took to Peru, 2009 into 2010, we went for New Year's Eve and crossed over, was to balance the masculine and feminine energies on the planet. So if we're here to balance ourselves and balance this planet before she flies into the sun in a million years, how do we do that if we're just in the divine feminine or if we're just in the masculine? You can't. So what you want to do, male or female, is bring those two together. But this trip to Peru, I really want to bring just women, just 10 to 12 women that feel called to step into the balance of their masculine and feminine, to be able to play with the concept of being a goddess and a god at the same time. So yeah, that's October 2nd through the 10th, 2025. If you're watching this later and missed it, check the IsabellaStoloff.com website and see what's next. But yeah, it's going to be a very powerful retreat. And then
For the audience, are you fully booked?
And then not yet. I have a few openings still. There are still
Okay, awesome.
some openings. So you can still reach me on shamanisabella.com. It hasn't moved yet. So, or you can email me, info@shamanisabella.com right now. What was I going to say about the women's retreat? There was something, it'll come back.
Okay, let's step from the present. Now let's bring it to the future. If you want to step into a new vibration, a new genre of life, what's the vision for Shaman Isabella for the next 2 years, or Isabella Stoloff?
Writing. I want to write. I'm right now in this transition phase, right? So right now, in the foreseeable real future, I have this Mighty Network platform to put the Awaken the Creator course and to go live once a month. So I'll be there. There's already stuff there because I started it last year and then got busy and went on to something else. But I'm committed to putting things on Mighty Network. I can go live there, live stream once a month. There'll be, different levels where you can get something for $5 or $10 or the bigger programs. I am in July going to start the healer training and do it weekly for people that have been with me a long time and want it, and record it. So then they'll next year be the healer training course, which I'll launch probably January on Mighty Network. And people can get that. And then there's one more, which is the certification course for the Good Vibes cards, which you can get now on shamanisabella.com. And I will mail you a deck. They're $33. So let's talk about those. And then that's kind of the future. So it's a lot. This is my golden condor. Oh, I could make a story about the golden condor. And let's pull a card for the audience because I love doing that. They're really vibrant, beautiful colors. They're beautiful feel. They have this gorgeous gold. Oh, God, I love them. I did them, gosh, I think we developed them in 2015, and then 2015 was a huge year for me. And then we had them in 2016 and they sold out, and I got more, and then I made them in Spanish. They sold out. I still have the Spanish ones. Those are my labor of love. And we just reordered because we haven't had them for 4 years because of COVID. Oh, I love this. And I love the graphic. I love the graphics because I think they're spiritual downloads, and you can breathe in the beauty of who you are, breathe out judgments. So I think judgments are what hold us back the most. And we have this little booklet, and it's in alphabetical order. So we go to B, breathe. How often do you think of your breath as beautiful? Each breath is a divine gift. When you live with hatred or fear, which is what we were just talking about, right? That what's happening now. When you live with hatred or fear, you forget your inner beauty. Once you let go of judgments, you will feel peace and be at one with yourself. In this way, you experience more of your own inner light. And then I have like 3 little steps and an affirmation. So focus on taking deep inhales and exhales through your nose and fill your belly with love, connecting to your heart's energy. Create a fire in your heart to release all judgments. Bring a beautiful white light to put out the fire. Place rosemary oil on the bottom of your feet for cleansing. Feel your divine beauty inside and out. Affirmation, I tune into my inner light now. That's a great one for this show, because the cards are very intuitive. And I think they speak to whatever it is we're talking about. And that's what we were just talking about, was that. And the
Talk
future.
about breath, breathing in, breathing out. Imagine fire. Do you ever do breath work sessions, or is that not part of your services?
It's not part of my services. There are great breath work practitioners out there. It does happen during a session sometimes. We do the breath of fire. So to get people out of their heads and to get grounded. And that's, you put your hands behind your back like this, and you breathe in and out of your belly. So you breathe in, pushing your stomach out. So it's, and when you breathe out, force your stomach to come in. So go, and you breathe in and out, and then you do from up here, and you're bringing in the light from above, and you're bringing in the light from below, and mixing it in your belly. So that's a
Very
good
good.
one. That's easy.
Yeah. Now let's go back to the business side of things, just for a quick sec. What's working well in your business right now?
What's working well in my business right now? The fact that I know how to feel the energy of my business and feel where it wants to go. So businesses, the ocean's tides are a wave of in and out. And your life and your business is a wave in and out. And sometimes it ebbs, and sometimes it flows, and sometimes it stops, and it's a void, and you don't know why, and you're struggling to make it happen, and you want to make it happen. But that's not the way. The way is during that void. One of the cards says, in the void, creation happens. Think of yourself when you're in that void and nothing is happening with your business. Don't go, oh, nothing's happening with my business. I can't. Just breathe into it and say, oh, this is a time for rest. This is a time I should take a vacation. This is a time I should do something for myself, have some self-care. Let the creation energy happen. You're born in a dark void. You're born in a womb that is dark for 9 months. Right? So your business and your ideas can be the same way. And then all of a sudden, the minute that you let yourself stop hyper focusing on it, and it starts to flow, it starts to come back. Also, paying attention to the moon cycles, seeing when it's a full moon. We just came out of that full moon. So that was a time to release. And now we're moving into the new moon, which is a time to create. So if you follow the cycles of the planet, which we're not taught to do, follow the cycles of your body. And so for me, that's the biggest thing, is I can see that it's time to transition. I can see that it's time for me to put everything in a bundle and let it sit, and let the people that want that part of me find me from time to time, but definitely find the things online. And then whatever's happening over here with Isabella Stoloff, which I don't know. A lot of times, so when you're manifesting, people think you have to know exactly what it is, and you have to see it clearly, and you have to know. But I think that stops the universe from giving you even more, because the universe will give you more than you ever dreamed possible. Always. It is the law. As long as you're feeling good. If you're feeling bad, the universe doesn't know the difference. So it brings you more bad. It doesn't know the difference. It just goes with how you're feeling. You are but one vibrational note in the universe. What frequency do you wish to vibrate at? So if you keep that thought, I am but one vibrational note in the universe, what frequency do I wish to vibrate at? Then you'll get it. You'll be like, oh, I shouldn't beat myself up. I shouldn't be like, oh, so hard. I should ebb and flow with my business. And so I don't know a lot of the times what it looks like, but I know how I want to feel. You know how you want to feel, right? You want to feel good. You want to feel prosperous. You want to feel abundant. You want to feel like you have everything that you've ever wanted. So why not walk around and feel like that all the time and see what happens? Just walk around feeling great and watch what happens. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to walk around feeling great. I'm headed to Italy. I'm going to, practice doing something that's always scared me, which is painting. I don't see myself as a painter, but I'm going to go try and see, about this little children's story and just see where the universe wants me to go next. Now I can hear people out there, because I'm an intuitive and a little bit psychic. I can hear your audience going, I can't afford to do that. I have to work. I have to make money. I have to put food on the table. I get it. Makes me want to cry. I was on food stamps. I was homeless. I was homeless in Hollywood. I get it. Like, I know. But I always kept a positive mind. I always kept a strong mind, even through all the horrific things I put myself through. I would just say, what comes to me is the Gone with the Wind, tomorrow is another day. But tomorrow is another day. And in this moment, you're alive. And how do you take that aliveness and grow with it, even if everything looks like not working out, even if it looks like that? How do you just in the moment go, I can see everything coming to me now? There's a fantastic book from the 1920s. Everybody says this is new agey stuff. It's not. It's actually ancient, right? There's a book called I'm going to forget it. Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. Get the book, Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. Watch how this guy helps people transform their lives with positive thinking. And for me, it's positive vibration.
Beautiful. I'd say we ended off on that note for the show. We'd love to have you on the next show as well.
It's great.
And for
So
everybody
much fun.
watching, Isabella, can you give your plug, your business, and where can they find you?
Yeah. Go to shamanisabella.com or email info@shamanisabella.com. You can find me on TikTok, Shaman Isabella, or Isabella. I'm really trying to transition, but it's hard. It's hard. Cancel. See, when you say something, your words are spells, your thoughts are things. When you say something you don't like, you can say cancel, I take it back. It's not hard. It's just a transition. You can always find me, Shaman Isabella, because it's been on the internet for so long. You can go on YouTube. What's funny is I think YouTube is Isabella Stoloff, but any of those, Shaman Isabella Stoloff, email me. Let me know your thoughts about this show. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this show and what you thought of how we presented the information. Thanks for having me, Ngoc.